The 7 Years wore a global struggle and personal narratives. This narrative is proudly brought to you by Polly Speaks For You. At Polly Speaks For You, we are committed to empowering individuals, especially those with disabilities or learning challenges, through innovative text-to-speech and voice recognition technology. Polly Speaks For You is more than just software. It's a tool for self-expression, connecting people with the world in meaningful ways. By blending the richness of history with cutting-edge technology, Polly Speaks For You demonstrates that every voice, whether preserving the past or shaping the future, has the potential to inspire. While we strive to make the story engaging, our primary focus is on storytelling itself. The visuals are secondary. We're showcasing the remarkable capabilities of text-to-speech software that bring these stories to life. The 7 Years' War, 1756 to 1763, was not just a titanic struggle between empires. It was a war that touched millions of lives across continents. Its roots lay in complex alliances, territorial disputes, and colonial ambitions. Yet the experience of war was deeply personal. Through anecdotes, diary entries, and personal reminiscences, we can glimpse the war from the perspective of those who lived it: soldiers, civilians, and political leaders. Europe ablaze. Frederick the Great's gamble. In the winter of 1757, Frederick the Great of Prussia sat at his camp in Leuthen after one of his most decisive victories. His army had just crushed the Austrian forces in a battle that would be remembered as a tactical masterpiece. But in his private letters, Frederick's tone was anything but triumphant. "My dear sister," he wrote to his beloved Wilhelmine, "I am at the end of my strength, and though fortune has smiled upon me, I feel the weight of the world on my shoulders. These victories are fleeting. The dead are permanent." Frederick's gamble had been audacious. He led his army against a coalition of the great powers, Austria, Russia, and France, with little more than his military genius to rely on. While Europe marveled at his battlefield successes, he wrote candidly in his personal diary, "Each night I lay awake, dreading the news that will come with the dawn. Every victory seems to cost me more than I gain." Across the ocean, a soldier's view of North America. On the other side of the world, a young British soldier named James Wolfe penned his own letters to his mother while stationed in the wilds of Canada. Wolfe, who would later become a hero at the Battle of Quebec, confessed the strain of campaigning in such foreign lands. "The cold bites deeper than any wound, and the men grow restless. There is a strange beauty here in this wilderness, but I long for England, its warmth and civility." Wolfe's diary offers an intimate window into the hardships of soldiers stationed far from home. While he outwardly exhibited the courage of a commander, his private words revealed a man who questioned the value of the war. "This land is vast and unforgiving, and for what do we fight? A stretch of forest here, a river there. Sometimes I wonder whether it is all worth the blood we spill." Anecdotes from Wolfe's men recount moments of humor amidst the tension. One evening, a group of soldiers spotted what they believed to be an enemy French patrol moving through the forest. Rifles were drawn, nerves tightened, but as they approached, the patrol turned out to be a herd of moose. The men roared with laughter, a rare moment of levity in the brutal campaign. Wolfe, hearing the commotion, joined in, commenting, "If the French do not kill us, the wildlife surely will." The Battle of Plassey, Clive's letter to home. In India, the war took a different shape. The British East India Company, led by Robert Clive, clashed with French forces and their local allies. After the Battle of Plassey in 1757, Clive wrote a letter to his father. "We have triumphed, though I confess, at times, the battle seemed lost. But fortune, it seems, smiles upon me yet again. India is ours, and with it, an empire." Clive's triumph secured British control over Bengal and laid the foundation for the British Raj. Yet his own writings reveal moments of deep personal doubt. After the battle, Clive wrote in his diary, "Victory is sweet, but it leaves a bitter aftertaste. I have seen so many die, and I wonder, was this worth the cost? I sit here in this foreign land, surrounded by wealth, but my heart is far from home. Anecdotes from the campaign tell of Clive's near-suicidal charge across the battlefield, sword in hand, a mad dash that his men would later speak of in awe. He fought as if possessed, one officer recalled. It was as though he had no fear of death. France. Loss and lamentation. The French, whose empire would be significantly diminished by the end of the war, faced their own moments of introspection. In the aftermath of defeat, the Marquis de Montcalm, who commanded French forces in North America, wrote a poignant letter to his wife. "I fear that all is lost. Our soldiers fight bravely, but the English are relentless. This land is vast, and they bring reinforcements as easily as one might send a letter." Montcalm's diary entries paint a picture of a man who saw the writing on the wall long before Quebec fell. "We are spread too thin. The English are like a tide. We can hold them back for a moment, but they always return, stronger and more determined." An anecdote from Montcalm's final days recounts a chilling exchange between him and one of his officers during the siege of Quebec. As the British prepared to attack, the officer reportedly asked Montcalm if he believed they could hold the city. Montcalm replied, "We may hold them off for a day, perhaps two. But in the end, I fear we are doomed. Yet still we fight. What else can a soldier do?" The ordinary people, a peasant's perspective. Not all who experienced the war were soldiers or commanders. The conflict affected ordinary people across the globe. In the Silesian countryside, a German peasant named Greta recorded in her diary the chaos that descended upon her village when armies marched through. "They came like a storm," she wrote, "and left nothing behind. The barns were burned, the cattle taken, and my sons, my dear sons, were forced into the army. I pray each night that they are alive, but I fear I will never see them again." Her diary is filled with a mix of hope and despair. The war rages on, but for what? The land is torn apart, and we are left with nothing. The soldiers speak of glory, but all I see is ruin. Legacy of the war, a global transformation. The war ended in 1763 with the Treaty of Paris, reshaping the map of the world. Britain emerged as the dominant colonial power, while France ceded much of its overseas empire. Prussia solidified its status as a major European power, while Austria was left to rebuild. In India, British control was secured, and in North America, the stage was set for future conflict, particularly the American Revolution. Yet the human cost was staggering. Millions died, whether from battle, disease, or displacement. The voices of those who lived through the 7 Years' War remind us that behind the grand strategies and sweeping historical narratives were individuals, each with their own fears, hopes, and struggles. As Frederick the Great reflected in one of his final diary entries after the war's conclusion, "The world may speak of victories and losses, of power and politics, but for those of us who have fought and survived, the memories are far more complex. We have seen too much to ever forget." If you're enjoying this story, please remember to hit like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us continue creating content that educates and empowers. To learn more about South Africa's leading accessibility software and to support our dyslexic-friendly initiative, visit www.polispeaks4u.co.za. Drop a comment if you want more information. Thank you for watching this video.